It's that time again for our top 10 countdown of the latest kitchen trends. This week, Jeff Toren of Kitchen Tune-Up brings us number 6. Welcome.
Hey, Libby. How you doing today?
Fantastic. I'm so glad that you could join us again this week, because each week that you have shared a trend with us, it's topping of the last week, and it's so exciting to wait an entire week and wonder what the next trend is going to be. Tell us about number 6.
All right. So number 6 is actually a trend I've seen happening over the last few years in a very, very quick and rapid way. So this is one that I'm very, very familiar with, and completely. I'm surprised it's actually only number 6. I would have thought this one would have been higher up. But number 6, the trend here is that quartz is now the most popular kitchen countertop material, and is continuing to trend up, whereas granite is the second most popular material and is trending down. It's very surprising how quickly this has happened. First, I'm going to give you a quick little background on quartz and what we're seeing, and then go in a little bit into why this is happening. And take us through it that way. So the first thing to understand about quartz in comparison to granite is that quartz is really slightly different than granite. Granite is all natural. It's pulled out of the ground, cut into slabs, and polished. Quartz is 95% natural material, ground up natural quartz, with 5% of the makeup being polymer resins that put it together and bond it. So it's manufactured, whereas granite is actually pulled out of the ground. So the construction of the material really is one of the advantages, and we'll talk about that. But we've actually seen I've seen this over the last 2 years, and it's continuing in a rapid course. 2 years ago, I saw granite and quartz probably about 50-50 as far as market penetration and what people chose to put in their kitchens. I actually have seen it shift probably this year. It's now more like 90-10. Almost 90% of customers are choosing quartz. We'll talk a little bit more about why that is, but I thought this is an incredible shift in something that's been going on a long time. Typically, we see quartz can cost a bit more than granite. Naturally, it does depend on the design that you pick, because there is an overlap in costs. Like some of the quartz cost the same as some of the granite, but as you get into different options, the price does go up. But generally, if you're looking at a similar material, it's at least 20 to 30% more on average to get quartz. The cost for granite is purely driven based on supply and demand, the rarity of that material or design. So if there's more of a design on Earth, like Uba Tuba or some of the more common designs, it purely is going to be less expensive, only because there's a lot more of it out there. When you get into some rare granite, if you see someone's kitchen and you see a countertop that you've never seen anything like it, it's very rare, that usually means it costs more. It does not mean it's better quality, it's going to last longer, it's going to be more resilient, whereas your basic level 1 granite is going to be just as good as your level 6 granite, it's just less rare.
Very interesting.
Now the cost, so it's very different when you look at the cost for quartz, though. Quartz, since it's man-made, the cost for quartz is driven on a few different things. It's really driven on what does it take to make that design, because it's man-made. So if you get a quartz that looks like marble or looks very natural like a granite, it's going to cost more than what was historically what quartz was, a very uniform, very simple design. And that brings us into why is this trend happening? Why is quartz, overtaking granite? Did you have any questions before we jumped into the next section, Libby?
Well, I'm soaking it in. It's a big surprise to me that quartz is overtaking granite, because that's all I hear about is granite, granite, granite. So I'm very curious why this might be.
Okay. So it's a couple reasons. What's happened in recent years is the manufacturers of quartz have fine-tuned, I guess, or used technology to advance their designs available. So I typically get nervous about a very white or light granite because it can be stained. You have to seal your granite once a year at least to keep it protected because it is porous. So red wine or oils will soak into the stone, and it's very difficult to get that out. Whereas that when we talked about how quartz is made, since it's natural material but bonded with polymer resins, those polymer resins end up filling the pores and filling that so that you cannot stain it, or you get it, you still can, but it's much more difficult to stain it, and you never have to seal it. So that's one of the things that people are really excited about quartz is not having to maintain it like you have to with granite. But the design's now available with quartz. So historically, quartz was very simple, something you'd see in a doctor's office. And the reason it was in doctor's offices is because that non-porous nature of the material made it very easy to keep it clean and keep bacteria from building up inside the pores of the stone. But now the design's available with the manufacturers. They are able to make like what really looks like marble, looks like granite, looks very natural and beautiful, like something you would get with granite. So that really started to make people think about quartz because now it's as pretty as a natural stone. It happens to be harder than granite because of the polymers pulling together, so it is more durable. It is susceptible to heat damage, so you got to be a little careful with quartz. I wouldn't recommend. I wouldn't do it with granite either, but I wouldn't take a scalding hot pot and put it onto a quartz countertop because it could make scorch marks on there potentially. Uniformity, that's something that I think is something that's personal. Some people like the natural look of granite, the wild nature of that you can't really predict what it's going to look like across a piece of stone. But with the color and the design in quartz, it's going to be more uniform. You don't have to worry about variation. You don't really have to pick a slab. If you're going to get a granite, you're going to want to go to the granite yard and actually pick which your slab will be because the color can vary and the design and the way in which the design occurs across the stone, it can be different. But within quartz, you could pretty much see a slab of quartz online on the manufacturer's website, and it's going to look pretty much the same every time. So you don't really have to do that. So that could be good and bad depending on your design sense. Both are great options. Really, the reality is, and I've said this. Once you get past the maintenance difference, it really comes down to personal preference. They're both beautiful, durable, great options that come for your kitchen. The trend is definitely going towards quartz, but it really, I think it comes down to, at the end of the day, aesthetics and budget. So if you really like a very natural looking stone and you really want to look a certain way, but yet you're on a tight budget, you're probably going to get scared away from quartz because the natural-looking quartz can be much more expensive. So you kind of weigh and balance the things that are important to you to make the best decision. One thing I would say is there's certain other materials that are a little bit softer, like actual marble, that you would probably want to stay away from in the kitchen. You want to make sure you're using something like granite, quartz, even quartzite. Quartzite is very good. That's a natural material just like granite, but you want to stay away from marble and other softer materials that could easily chip or stain. So that's what we had for you today, talking about the differences and the trend there. It's something that we help a lot of customers. We do install countertops through our local partner who does the fabrication installation. We work with Cole Granite and have lots of beautiful options that we do bring in home. So that way you can actually do a real nice design and pick the colors that go specifically in your environment, and your lighting and your backsplash and your cabinets and all that.
Well, this is
make your choice.
Yes, this is really great news. I know a lot of folks probably did not really think about quartz as a first or even second choice, and now knowing that's part of the mix, it opens up some options. So very good.
Definitely.
Well, Jeff, I'm so glad that you could join us again. Number 6 was definitely a surprise to me, and now I have all week to look forward to number 5.
Awesome. Well, looking forward to talking to you next week where we'll talk about number 5.